Welcome into episode 7 of the Yankee Doodle Dandy. This is the first episode in the year 2025. It's been a couple of weeks. I took a little bit of a break, a little bit of a hiatus from the podcast. I was spending time with my family, and I knew that the Yankees offseason was going to be kind of a little bit in stalemate as we celebrated the holidays. Obviously, there were some moves that did happen that I addressed on my YouTube shorts, which we will talk a little bit about today. But this is all about what is next for our New York Yankees as they continue to round out and shape the roster for next season. And we're going to get into all of the different rumors that we've been hearing about infielders, specifically Luis Arraez, what is going on there. But let's talk first about the Goldschmidt and Cruz additions. I just wanted to briefly talk about this because I never covered this on an episode of the podcast. And between the time from the last episode where we were talking about first base options to now, the Yankees have obviously made these moves. And we could actually go and find the moves here just really quickly, which I don't even have these pulled up yet. So let me see if I can find it here. All right here. So let's go ahead and look at this. Jeff Passan on December 20th. The Cincinnati Reds are acquiring catcher Jose Trevino from the Yankees for right-handed reliever Fernando Cruz and catcher Alex Jackson. So Fernando Cruz, awesome get. I'm very happy about this trade. This is a reliever that I've wanted for a long time. I'm not going to look into his baseball savant right now, but the guy has a nasty, nasty splitter. It is disgusting. It's one of the best pitches in baseball. He struck out over 100 batters last year. Yes, the walks can be a little worrisome. Yes, his ERA was almost around 5, but look, he was pitching in the bandbox that is Cincinnati. He was pitching for a team that did not go anywhere. And in the second half, yes, he did struggle a bit. But I do believe in Matt Blake, and I do believe in the Yankees being able to bring a guy like Fernando Cruz, who has a lot of talent, who has a lot of upside, and has great pitches to work with, including not just that splitter, but his fastball is also really good. And I do believe that Matt Blake will get the best out of him. You look at what they've done with relievers like Clay Holmes. Clay Holmes came over from the Pirates with an ERA over 5, and the Yankees turned him into an elite arm, so elite that the Mets ended up just giving him a 3-year contract to be a starting pitcher. That's how good Clay Holmes was. Not as a closer, obviously, but that's how good he was in the bullpen. I believe Fernando Cruz is set up here to be really good. He doesn't have to be the guy. We have Devin Williams for that. We have Luke Weaver for that. You could also say we have guys like Ian Hamilton and Jake Cousins and Jonathan Loaizaga who are also going to be put into a lot of pressure-packed situations. But I love this move because this is a guy who is nasty. This is a guy who can be crafted and molded by Matt Blake. So I love this trade. The Alex Jackson part, don't really care. The Yankees are probably going to have him be the backup catcher to Austin Wells this year. My opinion, Austin Wells is going to play 135 games or even more. 135 to 145 just feels like the perfect amount. He's young. The guy can hit. He loves catching every day. Jose Trevino had no spot on this team. And Alex Jackson is a cheap replacement for Jose Trevino. Yes, offensively, the guy is terrible. But defensively, which the Yankees love, their backup catchers to be defensive wizards back there, the guy's pretty damn good. So I love this trade. I wish Jose Trevino nothing but the best of luck in Cincinnati. And for the Yankees, this is just such a great move. It's so good. I wanted Fernando Cruz at the deadline, so I'm happy that we got him. Moving on, the other big move, probably the big move that still I think a lot of people are talking about, was obviously the signing of Paul Goldschmidt. It was inevitable. First baseman Paul Goldschmidt and the New York Yankees in agreement on a 1-year, $12.5 million contract. So Paul Goldschmidt is 37 years old. Look, when I made the when I talked about it in the YouTube short, when the news just broke, it was fresh in my mind. I didn't love the move. Is it still the first move I would have made now, knowing what I know? No. Obviously, there were other options. I felt like Yandy Diaz was a guy who I really wanted. If the Rays wanted to trade him, we will talk about that because it doesn't seem like they're going to be trading him. There was options like, obviously Pete Alonso is never going to happen, nor was I even entertaining that. But Carlos Santana, I felt like was a guy who I would have rather given the 1-year deal to just because he has been able to be productive still at the plate and defensively. But the more I look at Paul Goldschmidt, the more I actually think the move makes a lot of sense for the Yankees. Look, Anthony Rizzo gave us nothing. Rizzo, LeMahieu, Cabrera, Birdie, all these guys that the Yankees put at first base last season gave us absolutely nothing. Paul Goldschmidt hit 20 home runs last year. Paul Goldschmidt had a very good second half last year. He's still a guy who can hit the ball to all the different spots of the field. He can still hit for extra base hits. He's still got some pop. And with Yankee Stadium in the short portion right field, which he does go to right field a lot, there's a chance he could even hit 25 plus home runs in 2025. Would any of us be surprised if he does that? I know I wouldn't. My only thing about Paul Goldschmidt is that he's 37. He took a step back last year. But honestly, with what Rizzo and LeMahieu and Birdie and Cabrera gave us at first base last year, it kind of feels like to me, even average production is better than what we had. We had piss poor production from first base last year. No power, no slug whatsoever in a position that should be premium for slugging, should be premium for a middle of the order bat that can do some damage. Paul Goldschmidt, again, not my first choice, not the guy I would have gone out there and signed if you were giving a big-time veteran, a guy who is on the older side. I like Carlos Santana more. Now, granted, Santana obviously signed back with the Cleveland Guardians. Maybe he never was interested in the Yankees, but Paul Goldschmidt, to me, I'm okay with the move now. It's sunk in. I'm okay with it because it's a 1-year commitment. And the thing is, maybe him coming over here to a team that's trying to win, a team that, has Aaron Judge in their lineup and Cody Bellinger and Jazz Chisholm and Giancarlo Stanton, maybe it takes the pressure off of him where he doesn't have to feel like the guy. In St. Louis, him and Arenado have been the two pillars of that lineup and of that offense that are supposed to and expected to produce and putting a lot of the weight on their shoulders in order to be able to compete. Him coming over here, not having to be that guy, might help Goldschmidt have a better season. And like I said, if he even gives us 20 homers, drives in 80 RBIs, hits 270, 260, hell, 250, that's better production than what Anthony Rizzo gave us. Let's call a spade a spade. And I also think that Paul Goldschmidt, if a ball's hit to him at first base in the World Series, he's not just going to wait for the pitcher to come to him. He's going to try to make the out at first base. He's going to hustle to try to make the out. So I like Paul Goldschmidt. And look, I love Anthony Rizzo. He was a great Yankee. And I loved what he meant to this team. I loved what he meant to this city. I love the fact that he wanted to be a Yankee. But at the end of the day, it was time for the Yankees to simply move on from Anthony Rizzo. So anybody who's upset about Anthony Rizzo not coming back, because I know there are people out there who are sad that Rizzo's not coming back. Look, he was never coming back. It was over for him. And that's okay. That's okay. Rizzo gave us some incredible moments. And he'll forever be a Yankee, in my opinion. He'll forever be a Cub, let's be honest. But he'll always be a Yankee. And I have really fond memories of Anthony Rizzo wearing the pinstripes. So Paul Goldschmidt, I'm still not like super excited about it. I'm intrigued to see how he does. And I think spring training, my eyes are going to be solely fixed on him a lot to see what type of offensive production he can do. If he looks good out the gate, well, then there's going to be some optimism. If he looks bad like he did last year, well, then we'll be happy that it's just a one-year deal, and hopefully the Yankees can go out there and sign a Munetaka Murakami or a Vladdy Jr. next offseason. But it makes sense for a one-year pact to go out there and sign a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, a veteran leader, a guy who's well-respected and well-regarded. And, Aaron Judge got his guy. So those are my thoughts, my quick thoughts on the Paul Goldschmidt signing and the Fernando Cruz trade. Again, I love the Fernando Cruz trade. I think he's going to be awesome. That bullpen looks incredible. Give me Tim Hill. Re-sign Tim Hill. And that bullpen is perfect and ready to go for spring training. And I'll have no complaints. But you need to bring me back Tim Hill. Tim Hill was so damn good. I understand there's AJ Minter out there. I understand that there's Andrew Chafin, who, the Yankees are interested in, I guess. We'll talk about that. I want Tim Hill. Give me Slim Tim Hill on the mound. I loved him. The dude looked like he was a gas station manager. He was awesome. So I want Tim Hill. Give me Tim Hill. That bullpen is like the best bullpen in baseball. So very excited about what the bullpen could be. And we'll see what Goldschmidt can give us. So now that first base is addressed, we need to move on to the other, that same part of the diamond, the right side of the diamond, because the Yankees clearly seems like they're looking at second base and not third base, which tells me Jazz Chisholm might just be the third baseman of the New York Yankees. There's been a lot of talk about this right here. Luis Arraez could be next. Where is this coming from? Well, how about our very own and the most trustworthy MLB insider on the planet, Jeff Passan? The Yankees and Padres have discussed a trade that would send Luis Arraez to New York, per Jeff Passan. And we'll get into the John Heyman comment here, John Heyman tweet that I think is absolutely ridiculous and just shows how much of a Scott Boras shill this guy is. Luis Arraez. Why are the Yankees interested in Luis Arraez? I thought his defense sucks. He played first base last year, Nick, because the Padres saw he was so atrocious at second base. Yes, this is all true, but let me show you why Luis Arraez is someone that the Yankees want and why he's a guy that I want for this lineup. Look at that damn red right here, baby. This is a guy, the last 3 seasons he's won three batting titles. He had a 316 average in 2022, a 375 on base, a 420 slugging percentage, 795 OPS. That's pretty damn good. Only 8 home runs. The guy is not a power hitter. That's not what we would bring him over for. Not everyone needs to hit bombs, okay, people? Not every guy in your lineup needs to hit home runs, nor should they. We have a lot of guys that can do that already. Judge, Stanton, Bellinger can hit 25 plus. Goldschmidt possibly could have a season. Jazz Chisholm has 30-30 potential. Jason Dominguez has 30-30 potential. Austin Wells could hit 20 plus. Anthony Volpe, if he can figure it out again, could hit possibly 20 plus if he can kind of get back into that power mode. There's a lot of guys who can hit home runs on this team. Not everyone needs to hit home runs. Luis Arraez would not do that. But in 2023, in my opinion, his best season of his career, 10 home runs, 3 stolen bases, a 354 batting average, 393 on base percentage, 469 slug, 862 OPS. Those are absurd numbers for a guy who has one tool and that one X factor, and that's his hitting tool. Last year, 672 plate appearances. He had 83 runs scored, 200 hits. I like that. 4 home runs, 9 stolen bases, a 314 batting average, 346 on base. Okay, his on base went down quite a bit. 392 slug, 738 OPS. He only had, I think, how many walks did he have last year? I think he only had 29 walks or something. It was insane. He had 29 strikeouts. He struck out 29 times last year, and he walked, I don't even remember. It might have been, hold on, let me look at the standard stats here. He struck out 29 times total last year. 29 times in 117 games with the Padres. He struck out just 18 times. That is crazy. That's crazy. He only walked though, and this is one of the big things. He walked 24 times last year. 24 times he walked. So, and he got hit by 8 pitches last year. So, he was only on base 26 times without a hit. I know people don't like that. That's why his walk percentage literally is at a 3 right now. It's probably the lowest I've ever seen for a player. But you look at all of these, all the red, his expected batting average. This is a guy who's going to hit 300 every year, okay? And he'd only be a 1-year guy. He'd be a 1-year rental before he's a free agent. He does square up the baseball. He hits the sweet spot, which is interesting. He actually gets quite a bit of balls in the gap, which is nice. He doesn't have a lot of speed. That's why it's only really usually singles. He does not strike out and he does not swing and miss. And that is one thing, like he is literally the best in baseball at not swinging and missing and not striking out. This is a guy the Yankees need. Now, you look at his fielding, it's bad. Like that's bad. Okay, that's worse than Glaber. But here's the beautiful thing, everybody. Here's the beautiful thing. Could you imagine that guy hitting in front of Aaron Judge? Could you imagine that? That guy hitting in front of Aaron Judge? Now, I'm not saying Aaron Judge should go back to hitting second. I don't believe that. I think Judge should hit third. I think he's a better 3 hitter. But say the lineup is, some type of combination of Arraez, Bellinger, Judge, Arraez, Jazz, Judge. I mean, let me tell you, Luis Arraez leading off for the Yankees. This solves their leadoff problem. This is a guy who might be one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball because what's a leadoff hitter supposed to do? Get on base. This guy doesn't walk. We all know that. But he's a guy who doesn't strike out, puts the ball in play, and gets a lot of singles. And when you get a lot of singles for the guys next to you, whether that be Bellinger behind him, another guy who has not been striking out a lot, who squares up the baseball, who's been putting the ball in play, then all of a sudden Bellinger gets a hit. Now you have what? First and second, Aaron Judge comes up. You can't really be careful with Judge. You're going to walk the bases loaded for, Giancarlo Stanton behind him, Jazz behind him, Austin Wells behind him. Now you're creating an interesting problem for the opposing team. Luis Arraez makes a lot of sense. He makes a lot of sense for this team. And if you're worried the Padres aren't going to trade him, look, the Padres ownership group right now is in turmoil. You have them, they're fighting with one another. It's like an episode of Succession. Like they are literally fighting over control of that team. The Padres, also, we all know, it's not a secret, they have budget issues. They gave Xander Bogaerts an insane contract that no other person on the planet was going to give him. And now they're living with those consequences. Luis Arraez will be a 1-year deal. Okay? There's no guarantees back next year. But here's the beautiful thing. Who's to say you even need him next year? You're going to have guys like Kyle Tucker, Munetaka Murakami. You're going to have Vladdy Jr. All these guys are going to be free agents. Cody Bellinger could opt in. Like, there is a realistic world, and I know I don't want to talk about 2026 because we're talking about 2025. But if you're worried about losing Luis Arraez, number one, he's not going to cost what Juan Soto costs, okay? Will he cost you a prospect? Sure. Could you trade a Marcus Stroman and maybe a decent prospect like a Will Warren or a Everson Pereira or even like an Oswald Peraza or something like that? Sure, maybe. I don't know what the Padres want. They need innings, right? Marcus Stroman's a good innings guy, especially if they don't get Roki Sasaki. There is a realistic world where the Yankees could lose Luis Arraez. If they trade for Arraez, they don't bring him back in 2026 and beyond. It's okay. Bellinger opts in. You move him to first base. You can go after Kyle Tucker. You still have Spencer Jones. Munetaka Murakami is a guy who I do believe actually has a realistic chance of being a Japanese player who comes over to the States and plays for the Yankees because it's been well documented. He's even said himself that he wants to be a Yankee because of Hideki Matsui. He idolized Matsui. Now, whether or not that's going to happen, who knows? Vladdy Jr. is a free agent next offseason. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do, but we're playing for 2025. And this is a team that needs to win now. Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, they're not getting younger. You just signed Max Fried to an 8-year deal. You have Cody Bellinger here for at least this year. You have Devin Williams as your closer for this year. You have Fernando Cruz that you just brought on board. Giancarlo Stanton's not getting any younger. I want to see that guy win a world championship. Giancarlo has been so clutch in the postseason. He deserves a World Series ring. Jazz Chisholm only has a couple years left of club control. Anthony Volpe's still young, right? Wells is still young. But Jason Dominguez is still young. But you have to win with these guys. You have to win with this core of players now. Because, again, you're not going to have this open opportunity with a weak American League forever. We know at some point there's going to be a powerhouse in the American League. You would love for it to be us. But realistically, the Red Sox have great prospects that are coming up. And they're going to be a team that is going to be hungry and willing to spend money, I think, if they can start kind of proving that they can win. The Orioles, they're wasting their young prospects window right now. They're signing guys like Charlie Morton and Sagano and all these random pieces that aren't going to really move the needle in terms of the starting rotation that they desperately need help with going into October with an already offense that is feeble and can't do anything when the moment matters most. The Astros are older. They just lost Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman in the same offseason. Justin Verlander just signed with the Giants. They don't have a lot right now. Sure, they signed Christian Walker, but, I mean, Christian Walker is also 34 years old. You know, his prime has passed. And then, you know, you look at the American League Central. Yeah, the Yankees kind of run through the Central, sure. But there's going to be teams that are going to rise up. The A's look like a better team now. They just extended Brent Rooker to an absurdly low contract, in my opinion. So he needs to fire his agent. That was terrible. But the Mariners are a team that has a lot of pitching, no offense. This is the open opportunity for the Yankees. It is this year, 2025. To get back to the World Series and find a way to win. Luis Arraez makes this offense better. Defensively, train wreck. I understand he's not good defensively. But who cares? Who cares when you can hit as good as he can? When he's a guy who's consistently going to hit 300 or more, he's going to be in the conversation for a batting title. He's going to be leading off for a team that has no leadoff hitter right now, no direction of who can lead off for them. He's a guy who can get on base and be a table setter for Aaron Judge, for Giancarlo Stanton, for Jazz Chisholm, for Austin Wells, for Jason Dominguez, whoever you want to throw in the middle of this lineup, Paul Goldschmidt. He is the perfect guy that is available right now. And is he the best option? No, he's not. But out of what's available, is he the best? Yes. Because there is no better second base option available right now on the market. There are other guys that we will talk about that are potential options. But Luis Arraez makes a lot of sense. And here's my last point about this, and I'm going to say this point for all of the infield options we're going to talk about, because there's a couple more that we're going to bring up here. Arraez and all of these guys make sense for one simple reason. Look at the internal options the Yankees have to work with. Do you trust DJ LeMahieu? Do you want him to play every day? I'll tell you what I want. Hell fucking no. DJ LeMahieu should not even really see daylight on this roster, on this team. He's going to be on this roster. Let's call a spade a spade. He will be on the roster because Hal Steinbrenner feels like he owes him $30 million because he does, but he's also the type of owner where he's like, yeah, I'm not just going to cut you. Like, you're going to stay on this roster and at least prove to me that you can at least give me something to make me feel better about spending $15 million on you. Oswaldo Cabrera, do you want him playing every day? No, we've seen Cabrera play every day. He's not an everyday baseball player. There are so many people online that it baffles me. They still think Oswaldo Cabrera is more than what he is. He's a good player, okay? He's a good utility guy. He's a good guy you can plug in kind of anywhere in the field, and he'll do a serviceable job. But he's not an everyday player, guys. He's not. He's not an everyday guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love Oswaldo Cabrera. I love the type of player he is. But the type of player he is does not fit a lineup for 162. It just doesn't. And Oswald Peraza, the last internal option that I think is realistic, the Yankees have never given this kid an opportunity. And so because of that, I don't see how there's any way possible that Oswald Peraza gets any chance to be on this team. And to be honest, they're doing a disservice by keeping him on the roster right now. What good is it doing for Peraza? So if Peraza somehow goes in a trade to San Diego to bring in Luis Arraez, do not be surprised. Don't be shocked. Don't be saddened. This kid deserves every opportunity, and with the Yankees, he has not gotten that. They don't like him. Unfortunately for Oswald Peraza, the Yankees do not like him. They don't trust him. They don't feel confident in him. And if you feel that way about any young player, this is for any team, you need to trade him. Give him a fresh opportunity elsewhere. So as much as I like Oswald Peraza, and I would love to see him get a shot, I think that moment has passed. That time has passed. The Yankees do not feel confident in him moving forward. There's no chance in hell that he would get to starting reps over DJ LeMahieu or Oswaldo Cabrera if they're looking internally. The other options, Yorbit Bibas. I don't think the Yankees like him very much either. They call him up last year for a weekend. He never even saw the field. He just sat there and watched from the damn bench, and it was so sad. George Lombard Jr., not ready yet. Roderick Arias, not ready yet. So it's like there are no internal options. You have to go out there and get somebody, whether it be a second baseman or a third baseman. I thought they were going to go third base and move Jazz to second, but it seems like they're looking at second base. And I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with it. But you have to go out there and get somebody who's capable. And because I don't want to see DJ LeMahieu play on this team. DJ LeMahieu is dog shit, okay? He's bad. He's very bad. And I love DJ, and I hate saying that. But the guy just doesn't have it anymore. He just doesn't. So, Luis Arraez, could he be next? I really do think that there's a very good chance Luis Arraez is going to be a Yankee. And here's the interesting thing. I said we're going to talk about this, so we're going to talk about it now. I kind of went on a little bit of a rant here. John Heyman, let's just talk about what this tweet is right here. Here, at least for now, Luis Arraez not seen as a fit for the Yankees. That's from John Heyman. Can I tell you something right now? If anybody believes this, then, I mean, Scott Boras probably has you in his pocket as well. John Heyman, look, what happened earlier this offseason with the Keith McPherson stuff, I felt bad for him because even though we all know that John Heyman really is Scott Boras' puppet and does his bidding, it's very unprofessional for you to, talk about him in that kind of way to his face and kind of discrediting a lot of the work that he's done. Look, John Heyman's been right about a lot of stuff. I'm not trying to say he's not. But you know what this is? This is Scott Boras telling John Heyman, I want you to say this because if the Yankees are involved in Luis Arraez, well, that's not good for Alex Bregman or Ha-Sung Kim, who are both Scott Boras clients and both currently on the free agent market, still looking for a team and still looking for a place where they're going to spend next season and possibly beyond. So this is all Scott Boras is doing. It's the same bullshit when Arson Judge appears headed to the Giants. This is what John Heyman is hearing from Scott Boras to say because let's call it as it is. Do you really think John Heyman is going to have the upper hand over Jeff Passan? Not a chance. Jeff Passan is the best. He's better than Jack Curry, and I love Jack Curry. He is better than Jack Curry. He's better than John Heyman. He's better than Bob Nightingale. He's better than all of these guys because he doesn't just put stuff out there for clicks. Jeff Passan is reputable. He's a guy who always, it feels like he double and triple and quadruple checks every single bit of information he gets. And so if Jeff Passan is talking about the Yankees and Padres discussing a trade for Luis Arraez, I believe him. And I do think that the Yankees are interested in Luis Arraez, and he makes a lot of sense for this team. We will find out the arbitration number, I guess, on Thursday. There's a lot of rumors that maybe the Yankees are waiting until the arbitration number comes out so they know how much they have to pay him, blah, blah, blah. Who knows how these things really work. I think the Yankees have an idea of how much he's going to cost. I think he's due like $10 million around there this upcoming season. I don't care. You're the New York Yankees. Figure it out. But I also think that the Yankees are looking at a way. They're trying to trade Marcus Stroman. That is not at all a question, which we will get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about the other infield options, okay? We talked internally about the options, which are awful. Every option internally is just bad. I wish I didn't feel that way about Oswald Peraza. That's not fair to him, but unfortunately the Yankees have made me feel that way because of the way that they've, done him a disservice. So let's talk about some other options here. There's two options that we've heard about over the last 24 hours that have popped up. And one of them is Jorge Polanco. The Yankees checked in on Jorge Polanco in search for infield help, according to the New York Post Sports. Makes sense. Look, Jorge Polanco, I'm going to pull up his baseball savant right now. He had a really bad year. Train wreck of a season in Seattle. Seattle's also a huge ballpark. So take it kind of, I guess you could take it at face value, but it's also not very fair to Polanco in a way. Polanco's 31. He's a guy who's going to hit around 230, 240 every year. You look at what he did in 2022, 16 home runs, 235 average, 405 slug, 751 OPS, a 346 on base, 335 on base, 255 average, 14 home runs is 2023, less at bats. He's also a guy who has not been healthy. Like he's never had a full season really of health in a while. 789 OPS, and then last year was really bad. 469 plate appearances. He had 16 home runs, 4 stolen bases, a 213 batting average, 296 on base is so bad. That is just really bad. 355 slug, 651 OPS. He struck out a lot last year. He does walk, but he doesn't really spray the ball all over. He's a better left-handed hitter than he is right-handed hitter. I don't know. Jorge Polanco does make sense. Defensively, he's bad as well. He used to be good defensively, not anymore. Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a move that I could see the Yankees making because, again, is this option better than DJ LeMahieu or Oswaldo Cabrera? Yeah, I'd be okay with Jorge Polanco because he permits DJ LeMahieu from playing every day. And if that's a sad truth, I don't care. Call it what it is. It's the truth. I do not want to sit there and spend my time watching DJ LeMahieu struggle yet again for another season, another wasted year of him, another wasted year of the Yankees, watching him try to, hearing the Yankees say, oh, he has something left in the tank. Yes, no, he's done. Jorge Polanco is a better option. He is. Is he my favorite option? No, he's actually probably my least favorite option currently out of the guys that the Yankees have been looking at, but it does make sense. He's also not going to cost a lot. He's going to be trying to have a bounce back kind of season, and guys on bounce backs like that, you never know what you could get. Maybe he will be better. And you got to hope that maybe he can find some type of health for next year. But look, he's an option. Okay, he's an option, and I think he's a very real option for the Yankees if they cannot find a match with the Padres for Luis Arraez. And then we also had this here from Bob Nightingale. which Yankees are actively trying to deal starter Marcus Stroman. Obvious. Water is wet. Let me just say, water's wet. That's the most obvious thing ever. It means nothing. They have had talks with free agent left-handed reliever Andrew Chafin. That's interesting. And infielder Brendan Rodgers. So Brendan Rodgers was the second baseman for the Colorado Rockies for a long time. You look at his baseball savant. Not pretty. I will say, though, his on base is not good either. He did have a 407 slug, but I worry because that might be the Coors effect with that specific number. 721 OPS feels like the Coors effect. 13 home runs, a stolen base, 267 batting average. A lot of blue. Doesn't walk a lot. Strikes out kind of on a little more than average. Defensively, I mean, he's better than what you'd get out of Arraez and Jorge Polanco. He won a Gold Glove a couple of years ago as well, but he's had some shoulder issues and some shoulder surgeries. I don't love this fit, but I think he is better than Polanco. It's weird. Okay, it's a weird situation I'm in right now because I feel like, again, anybody is better than DJ LeMahieu. And I don't mind Brendan Rodgers. I actually kind of thought Brendan Rodgers would have been a nice fit when we first found out he was a free agent. I was like, oh, I could see the Yankees, making a move for Brendan Rodgers. And I think if the Luis Arraez thing doesn't work out, I think Rodgers fits more than Polanco does at this point in time. Defensively, they could look at it as, he's had a lot of shoulder issues. He's coming back from that, but maybe defensively the Yankees look to try to lock it down at second base. And you hope that Brendan Rodgers can be somewhat of a valuable piece for you. He's not going to do much offensively. He could be at the bottom of your order. So I don't hate it. I don't necessarily hate it, but it doesn't help solve the leadoff hitting situation. Same thing with Polanco. He doesn't solve it either. Out of these options, Luis Arraez is my favorite. My least favorite is Jorge Polanco, and Brendan Rodgers is right there in the middle. But I do think that all of these options are better than my least favorite option, and that is DJ LeMahieu getting a chance to run it back and be the second baseman. Again, can't happen. This is a team that's trying to win a World Series this year. You cannot have DJ LeMahieu playing 162 games. You just can't have it happen. There is no fucking universe where this guy should be playing on the Yankees in 2025. He's going to be there. He's going to be on the team. And if you're worried about Luis Arraez's defense, here's a simple solution. A must-win game. You're in the 8th inning. Luis Arraez isn't due up. You're up, let's just say, like by a score 3-2 or something like that. Okay. Take Arraez out. Put DJ at second. Put Cabrera at second. And there you go. You fix the defense. I mean, I think that's a smart move. That's a smart move that any good manager would make. Now, is Aaron Boone going to make that decision and move? Who the hell knows? Aaron Boone is he's on planet Uranus a lot of the time, so who knows what he's going to do? But Brendan Rodgers, Jorge Polanco, Luis Arraez, all these guys are better than DJ LeMahieu. And I'm not just saying that to be a DJ LeMahieu hater. I'm going to show you his baseball savant, guys, and it is not pretty. Okay? It is not a pretty savant page. It's pretty bad. And, let's take a look at this. This is what DJ LeMahieu's savant page looked like. Look at the blue. Now, granted, he only had 220 plate appearances, so it's not going to completely resemble the dark red and dark blue. There's not enough data here. But you might be like, oh, he squares up the baseball. Yeah, sure. He doesn't strike out a lot. We know that about DJ, right? He doesn't swing and miss a lot. And again, defensively, LeMahieu is great defensively still. Okay, like I said, you bring in Luis Arraez, you can sub DJ in late into a game for defense. I don't have a problem with that. That's what DJ should be at this point in his career. But I mean, my God, look at how bad that blue is right there. Look at it. He hit 204 last year with 2 home runs, a 269 on base, a 259 slug, 528 OPS. That cannot be your everyday second base solution. I'm sorry. It just can't. It can't. We know what DJ is at this point in his career. We know it. Again, I understand why the Yankees made the decision to give him a 6-year contract. I championed it. I wanted him to come back. I just didn't think the fall-off was going to be this bad. I'm not going to lie. I knew his fall-off wasn't going to be great, but this has been a complete fall from grace, and a lot of it you could blame on the foot injury. That's really kind of been a huge setback for him. So what do you guys think about these options? What's your favorite? Are you in favor of the Yankees trading for Luis Arraez like me? Let me know down below in the comments, and we'll have more discussion about it. We've already talked about this. When will they trade Marcus Stroman? I think it's only a matter of time. I think the more that we get closer and closer to spring training, I think the Yankees are not in any rush whatsoever to trade Marcus Stroman. And I think even if they do trade for Luis Arraez and they don't trade Marcus Stroman in a package for Luis Arraez, the Yankees know that they have a lot of time. And they know that spring training comes around. They can roll out Marcus Stroman out there and talk about, he's going to be a part of the team this year. We really believe in Stroman. And then a team, a starting pitcher for a team goes down. Now they're looking around going, well, who's out there that we could go out and grab? Boom, Marcus Stroman. A lot of people are worried about the money. $18.5 million. Frankie Montas got $17 million this offseason. And Marcus Stroman's a better pitcher. He just is. One thing you're going to get from Marcus Stroman is innings. The guy is an innings eater. He's been that way his entire career. So for anybody who's out there saying, oh, there's no way the Yankees can trade $18.5 million, please give me a break. Yes, they can. With the type of money pitchers are getting today, Justin Verlander, who's 42, who's a fossil at this point, just signed for $15 million with the Giants. I would take Marcus Stroman over Justin Verlander right now. Because again, innings eaters are so important to a lot of teams. And you never know what's going to happen. Look, spring training can come around. There's teams are missing guys. Guys go down with injury. You don't want to see it happen, but it's inevitable. They're looking around going, well, who's available? Free agent's kind of scary at this point because, again, look at the Jordan Montgomery situation last year, the Blake Snell situation last year. These guys started off really bad because, you sign a guy like that, it could take a week or 2 weeks to kind of get everything finalized and in a physical, and then he's behind compared to everyone else in spring training, especially if it's like the middle or end of spring training. Well, then you're kind of screwed. The Yankees have all the time in the world to trade Marcus Stroman. There is no rush because they know that if they wait this out, teams will be calling during spring training, and the Yankees might be able to actually get something valuable back, right? Like they're not going to go out there and get an incredible top 5 prospect in an organization system. I don't see that happening, but you might actually be able to get something that can either supplement your roster now or for the future. And I think the Yankees are kind of playing the waiting game. They understand that, look, right now, there's still guys on the board. Jack Flaherty's still available out there. There's still other guys in trade that you could go out and get, whether that be, a Jordan Montgomery, who there's teams that are probably going to take a chance on him. A guy like maybe a Sandy Alcantara. I don't know if he's really available, but there are other guys available. And especially in the free agent market. Like I just said, Jack Flaherty's available. Jose Quintana is still out there. Other guys are still available. So I think once those guys start getting signed, which they will, then all of a sudden we can see now teams going, well, damn, we need a starting pitcher, a guy who can give us innings. They're going to call up the Yankees, and then the Yankees can kind of pick the best deal that they can get for Marcus Stroman. So Marcus Stroman will be traded. I don't believe Marcus Stroman will make a single start for the Yankees in the regular season in 2025. I think he will possibly make a start or two in spring training for the Yankees. But again, the Yankees, they're playing the waiting game. And you never know what could happen. And here's the other thing, too. Would it be the worst thing in the world? We still trade for Luis Arraez, say we re-sign Tim Hill. One of our pitchers, goes down with an injury. Hopefully that doesn't happen, right? But one of our pitchers goes down with an injury. Boom, we already have Marcus Stroman who can kind of just go right in as the fifth starter, give us innings. That's not a terrible thing. I understand the vesting option's scary. You don't want to enact that, but he has to have like 140 innings. That's not gonna hurt at the beginning of the season, right? So Marcus Stroman is going to be traded. I don't think Marcus Stroman is going to be on the roster, but again, would it be the worst thing in the world if we get to spring training and one of our starters goes down? Boom, now we have Marcus Stroman as a fifth starter? No, not really. He's still a serviceable pitcher. So, yeah, it's a matter of time. I do think Marcus Stroman is going to be traded. I do see that happening. Let's get on to the last topic because we've talked about a lot, and I'm getting pretty tired. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's literally 2 a.m. in the morning right now as I'm recording this podcast. And I don't really want to talk about this too much, but we're going to talk about, could Roki Sasaki actually choose the New York Yankees? I don't know, man. I don't know. We have Jim Bowden out there talking about how the Yankees, he believes it's going to be down to the Yankees and Padres for Sasaki. You have even tonight on SNY, you had Brian Hoke talking about how the Yankees feel confident that they can sign Roki Sasaki if it's not a matter of geographical preference. I gotta see it to believe it. I don't know how many times we have to go through this where there's a Japanese superstar coming over and the Yankees sit there and say, "Oh yeah, we feel like we have a good shot," and then he signs elsewhere. We've seen that happen time and time again. I mean, the last Japanese player that signed with us was Masahiro Tanaka. And then people want to say, "Oh well, Sasaki, he idolizes Tanaka." Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? I idolize a lot of people. I love David Ortiz. I think he's a great personality. I hate the Red Sox. What does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So to me, it's just silly. It really is when people want to sit there and say, "Oh well, he loves Tanaka." He really loves Tanaka. I think, or when people try to say, then you have, that Emmanuel Barbero guy, which he has some of the worst takes ever. He's a Yankee fan, and I love that you love the Yankees, but you have some really bad takes. You make Yankee fans look bad. Where he sits there and says, well, I think, the Yankees have a lot to propose to him, a lot to offer him because of the legacy of the Yankees. Look, no one cares about the Yankee legacy or history, okay? This is 2024. Or 2025, sorry. I'm losing my mind. Look at that. It is literally 2025. How did the history and legacy and lore help you in pursuing Juan Soto to re-sign? It didn't. He signed with the Mets because of the fucking money. Players do not care about the Yankee history. They don't care about the Yankee legacy or lore or the 27 rings. They don't care about that. Do you know why they don't care about it? Because the Yankees haven't done shit in 15 years. Yes, they went to the World Series this year, but look at how that turned out. Not good. And then we just lost one of the biggest players on the planet in Juan Soto to the New York Mets. Yeah, we've made great moves. I'm not saying that this offseason has been a bust. It hasn't. It's actually been a lot better offseason than I would have ever imagined it being with Juan Soto leaving. But for people to sit there and continue to say that the Yankee history means anything to these players, get off of your fucking horse, my guy. No one cares about the Yankee history. They don't. They don't. Garrett Cole is a Yankee fan. We get that. You know why Garrett Cole chose the Yankees? Because they gave him the most money. If the Angels gave him more money, he would have been an Angel. But here's the thing. I understand that Sasaki, it's not about the money. I get that. It is international bonus pool money. All the money is literally equal around the board, okay? I'm not trying to say it's about the money. However, we don't know what Sasaki wants. We can hear his agent say, oh, he wants to be a legend. Oh, he wants this. He wants that. But at the end of the day, his agent is just doing the best that he can for him. Sasaki, I think, already knows where he wants to go. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I believe Roki Sasaki will be a Los Angeles Dodger. Okay? I think he's going to be a Dodger. Why do I think that? Because I have to see something else happen before I believe that any Japanese player is going to come over here to the States and not choose the Dodgers. I'm talking superstars. And I'll probably say the same thing next offseason with Murakami. And it's already been documented that he loves Matsui. He said himself that he either wants the West Coast or he wants the Yankees. But I still will have to see it to believe it. I cannot sit here and act like Roki Sasaki to the Yankees has a legit chance of happening. Do they have a better than 0% chance of landing him? Yes. They're in the conversation. They've had a meeting with him. There's a potential there that they could have a second meeting with him. Who knows? But I'm not going to tell you that it's more than 5% that I think he's going to be a Yankee. Because it's not. It's not. I think he's going to be a Dodger. And if he's not a Dodger, well, then he'll be a Padre. And even all this ownership turmoil stuff, I don't think is going to deter him. Because at the end of the day, I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares. So if you encounter people on Twitter trying to tell you this narrative that Sasaki is going to choose the Yankees and that because he loves Tanaka so much, or, oh, he loves, the Yankee legacy and the Yankee history, I got a bridge to sell you, man. Players do not give two shits about the Yankee history anymore. They don't. They didn't even care about it then. You know what the Yankees care? You know why players chose the Yankees back in the 90s and 2000s? Two reasons. One, money. The Yankees were paying them more money than any other team. Okay? Other teams just could not compete with George Steinbrenner. And number two, championships. They had a championship pedigree. They were a team that players wanted to go to because they knew that they could win a chip and that they probably would win a chip. Can you say that about these 2025 Yankees? I'm hopeful. They just went to the World Series. The American League's wide open. I believe if they get back to the World Series and play good baseball, fundamentally sound baseball, they can win a World Series. But look at the fucking Dodgers. Look at that team. Look at that team. Look at that team and tell me that they are not the favorites to go back to the World Series and win it all again. You cannot tell me that. You can't. I understand games need to be played on the field. Games are not won on paper. I get it. But I mean, that is a team right there that has a championship pedigree that's going out there and doing everything possible to win now. So that's my Roki Sasaki talk. Do I think Sasaki could choose the Yankees? Sure. But to sit here and tell you I'm confident in that would be me lying to you. And I'm not going to ever lie to you guys. I'm just telling you how I feel. Like I told you how I felt about Soto and my confidence level of him re-signing with the Yankees. I said it's up in the air. A lot of the times I said, look, I think he's going to be a Yankee or a Met. And it came down to the Yankees and the Mets. And he took the most money. Roki Sasaki is going to be able to choose where he wants to go. All the money is going to be equal. And I'm telling you right now, if he's a Yankee, if he decides to choose the Yankees, I mean, I will come on here and I will apologize to all of you, and I'll do a dance. I'll pull out all the stops. Okay, I will do a dance. I'll wear, some type of I don't know. I'll wear like a funny hat or something. I don't know. I will do a dance. If he literally chooses the Yankees, I will come on here. I will do a dance, and I will sing "I'm Sorry" by Buck Cherry or something. Okay. But I think he's going to choose the Dodgers. I just do. I think he already has chosen the Dodgers. I think he already knows that he wants to be a Dodger. And I think that he knew he wanted to be a Dodger years ago. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say on Roki Sasaki. What are you guys' thoughts down below? Are you feeling confident in Roki Sasaki choosing the Yankees? I don't feel confident, but I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. That's going to do it for this episode of the Yankee Doodle Dandy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back next week. There is no more breaks that I need to take. Hopefully the Yankees make the Luis Arraez move, maybe. Are we going to get Luis Arraez by this time next week? And we could talk about that, with the lineup completely being done and, moving on to the final piece, which is a left-handed reliever in the bullpen. I mean, it's going to be crazy. We're going to start talking about spring training soon. It's exciting. Spring training storylines, or there's going to be battles for positions in the bullpen or positions on the field, whatever it may be. We're going to talk all about it. Jason Dominguez, can't wait. I hope he has a great 2025, and I have a lot of faith in him. We'll see. It's going to be fun to talk about all these different things with the offseason coming to a close here very shortly. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching this episode. Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. And if there's any breaking news, you guys know I will be releasing a YouTube short and giving my quick thoughts on whatever news breaks with the Yankees between now and the next episode of the podcast. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out.